Hello again and welcome back to Across the Pond, the Anaheim Ducks podcast here from Glasgow, Scotland. I am your host, Tom Perrott, as always, and we're just going to get right into talking about the Anaheim Ducks, what's happened during the off-season. Yeah, let's just get right into it. The last time that we did an Across the Pond episode, we had no idea who the coach would be. We had kind of no idea who we would take second overall, although there was a kind of general consensus on who it would be. The one guarantee in sport is there are no guarantees. Makes it interesting. So, at the time we last spoke, we had no idea who the coach was going to be. I gave my 2 cents on who I thought it should be, and it turned out to be someone I didn't even consider. And I'm not going to lie, someone I didn't know a lot about at the time. I've learned a lot since then. I've read a lot about the guy, and I really like the appointment. It's certainly one that's quite brave. So yeah, I can't really fault management for that. So the man I'm talking about is of course Greg Cronin. And everything I've read about the guy, every interview I've seen, I just love the attitude, that old school hockey attitude, and it's something I think that's dreadfully missing for the modern NHL. And then of course, the draft happened. I was on the stream, the Hockey Podcast Network, when we picked second overall, and I was convinced it would be Adam Fantilli, but it turned out to be Leo Carlsson. Now, I don't think that's a bad pickup. I certainly don't. I don't regret that one, especially since everything I've seen of Carlsson, at the likes of the Worlds, and also the short amount that I've seen during pre-season. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that pickup. I think that's going to be something that's really good in the future. And when you look at the interview that Fantilli did, where he basically came out and said that he wanted to go to Columbus, I think at that point, it kind of was always going to be that Anaheim were going to take him, because there's no point in drafting a player and putting so much stock in that player if their heart is elsewhere, because the project in Anaheim is still quite a way away. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the season coming and kind of what the expectations will be, the realistic expectations, and then, if we exceed expectations, what that would look like, etc. So, yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But yeah, I'm going to, in the meantime, kind of I'm going to roughly highlight some of the things that have happened in the off-season, which I just didn't see coming. Obviously, we have restricted free agents in Jamie Drysdale and Trevor Zegras. Now, there's not been a lot said about the Jamie Drysdale contract situation. That's actually more of a concern of mine, because I genuinely believe that Jamie Drysdale is the much more important player in the player pool, and I'll explain why. It's not that I dislike Zegras, not at all. I really do like Trevor Zegras as a player, but there are certain aspects of his play that I just don't think that they don't merit the sort of numbers that he's talking about, right? So all the talk is that Trevor Zegras is looking for a bridge deal, 3 years, $5 million each year, 15 over, right? 15 over the piece. Now, if you look at his statistics, Trevor Zegras, he's done quite well, but there's a lot of potential in Trevor Zegras, and a lot of what holds him back is his own attitude. It's a lot of the things that he doesn't make the right decision on the ice. So he could have an open pass, and instead he'll go for the through the leg shot or round the goalie attempt to Michigan, which is a 2% conversion. So Adam Oates said it himself that Trevor Zegras is a great kid, but he's got too much Instagram in his game, and he's trying to get that out of his game. So I think that there is a kind of general consensus building that Trevor Zegras, although as an immense talent, definitely needs to kind of screw the nut a wee bit, as we would say here in Scotland. He needs to learn to make the right decision for the team, and that's just a large part of the game. Obviously, hockey being the team game that it is, you're never gonna get very far with one superstar. And if Trevor Zegras made the pass sometimes instead of the fancy move or the shot, then the numbers would be a lot better and we would be talking a long-term deal similar to what Troy Terry's got. That was one that was also concerning coming into the off-season because Troy Terry's probably one of my favourite, if not my favourite of the newish Duck players. I think he's a future captain in the making. And I think he's just got the right attitude. Every time you hear Troy Terry talk, he's such a humble guy. And he always talks about the team. It's team-first mentality, which I think is kind of what hockey's all about. That's the parallel between that and other sports. When you listen to people talk in interviews from other sports, they attempt, they do a really poor job of making it seem that they care more about the team than the individual effort. Whereas with hockey, you genuinely do buy the fact that these guys, they're in the trenches with one another, and there's certainly an attitude of team-first mentality, that's what you want, basically. So yeah, I won't cover kind of too much, obviously, with what's going on with Trevor Zegras, because everybody's read it. I'm pretty sure everybody's sort of got to the point now where it's just like, oh, hurry up and resolve itself one way or another. If he gets traded, he gets traded. If he signs on for his bridge deal, he signs on. I don't think Pat Verbeek's in the wrong for offering him $3-4 million a year. I think based on his numbers, he's done pretty well in a poor team. But at the same time, it's the personal growth aspect. You need to remember who Pat Verbeek is as well. Pat Verbeek is he's old school, and he's not gonna hand out big contracts to somebody that could basically not meet the expectation, especially when you look at certain players, right? Two-way players like your Mason McTavish, for example, great going forward, but he's got a defensive side to his game. If Trevor Zegras develops this, then it's a different conversation. But I think that there's just an attitude there that he needs to get past. And we'll not go into his private life with a influencer partner and stuff like that, because that's up to him. He can do what he likes. He's an adult. Oh my god, there's actually been news about Trevor Zegras' contract. So obviously I was recording this before that happened, so I've had to cut in here to obviously be able to cover what it is that's happened with Trevor Zegras. So after all the talk about trades happening and whatever else, and there being a gap between the numbers that Zegras wanted and between what Anaheim was willing to offer, there was an offer floating around of about $2 to $3 million for a year, each year for a 3-year period. It looks very much like we've signed him on for 3 years, which was expected, but at a higher amount, 5.75 per year. So we'll be walking away with 17.25 over the 3 years, which it's a bit higher than perhaps what I thought we would settle on, just because I think that the team probably don't see Zegras the way that Zegras sees his numbers, or the way that his camp sees his numbers. He's definitely got the potential, but he needs to fix certain aspects of his game. Now, this isn't a discredit to Trevor Zegras. I'm a big fan of Trevor Zegras. Anybody that's listened to the show all the last few years will be able to tell, how big I am in this kid and how much potential he's got and how frustrated I can get sometimes when, he doesn't make the team-friendly choice on the ice. So hopefully this helps him grow. And the good thing for Trevor Zegras as well is after the 3 years, we can look at this again. He might be worth a lot more money, so he might get more of a payout. So yeah, just cutting in to say that as well. And I'm pleased about this in the sense that now it's done. We just need to get Jamie Drysdale on board, which I still believe is the more important signing. So hopefully we can get something sorted with Jamie Drysdale over the next few days. Before the start of the regular season would be nice. And yeah, buzzing. Let's see what happens. And now a word from the sponsors. We are back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw 5 down on any of this week's epic matchups to walk away an instant winner. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game this September. Football's more fun when you're in the action, so download the app now and sign up with the code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, with code THPN. Gambling problem? Call
1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.t1800gambler.net. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, KS Licensed Partner, Golden Nugget Lake, Charles, LA. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void. ONTC sportbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms, eligibility, terms and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
Aside from Alex Killorn, we also picked up Radko Gudas. Now, that is a signing. That's identity right there. You know, this is a guy that will get in your face. He'll hit first, he'll finish his checks, and nobody is going to mess with Radko Gudas. And I love that. That's my kind of signing. I like the old school hockey. I like that, you know, what could be described as, you know, when you talk about football, you say smash mouth football. For me, hockey has, you know, it needs that roughness about it. You know, the sport relies on that. When it's too, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, the Ducks get bullied last year. There's no question we get bullied. And with Radko Gudas about, I just don't see us getting bullied. And I love that signing, so well done, Pat Verbeek. That's a feather to your cap there, sir. But yeah, so that's a great signing. Happy about Radko Gudas. And then obviously there's been a couple of others. I'm not going to go too in depth with these because we need to see these people play on the team in the regular season before we start making any kind of any judgment calls. I just don't think there's much point in me sitting here saying this person's going to do this, that person's going to do that, because honestly it just doesn't work that way. When you look at the pre-season results, we've actually done okay. You know, we played the Kings the first night pre-season. We beat them 5-3. That was a weakened Kings side, so fair enough. We also played them again, and we beat them 3-2. We didn't play at our best, we still won the game. We've beat the Sharks 4-2, and then, you know, yeah, we've beat them 4-2 twice. The Kings marginally beat us 4-3, and we've got the Coyotes tonight, which I'll watch because it's quite early. So we've got a couple more pre-season games until the regular season starts for us on the 15th of October against the Vegas Golden Knights. So yeah, that'll be pretty telling. And it'll show us where we are at that point. Obviously, first game of the season doesn't really mean much in terms of where you're going to finish up the season, but it's a good indicator of have we sorted the issue with shots against. Because like we spoke about last year, the amount of shots that John Gibson faced, you know, I would have broke down half of them, quarter of them. I mean, anybody saying anything about John Gibson at this point in time probably needs a head check, but this is a guy that gets peppered with shots constantly. It's probably why he gets injured so much, because there's not really much protection for the guy. So I'm hoping that we've sorted some of the deficiencies in the blue line, and I'm hoping, you know, that we can start blocking shots properly and give John Gibson a wee bit of help. And saying that, you know, I'm pretty up on the idea. I'm quite excited about the possibility of Olen Zellweger making the big team. He's done quite well in pre-season, so there's every possibility that he makes the big club. To me, he looks NHL ready. His play is spot on. You know, he's an exciting prospect, and I think he's a guy that we'll be talking about for a long time. Yeah, he's got a lot of the kind of qualities that you would expect for, well, maybe not expect, that's not the right word. He's got a lot of the qualities that really excite me personally. You know, he's fast, he's got great vision, got a great shot. You know, he's not scared to get involved. He's a bit nippy, and I like that as well. You know, we've been missing that element. We're not nippy enough as a team. So yeah, Olen Zellweger is one that really excites me. Leo Carlsson, does he make the team this year? Does he make the big club? I hope so, because He's the second overall pick. Now, let's go back to that night when we're all sitting there, me included, thinking, okay, this is when Fantilli's coming to Anaheim. This is when Pat Verbeek talks about moving the needle and stuff like that. We picked up Leo Carlsson, and online it felt like an overreaction. We are quite a reactionary fan base, to be honest, so a lot of the things that we say, sometimes it just comes across as crybaby-ish. It's one of the less admirable qualities of our fan base. Sometimes we can be a bit, as we would say in Scotland, misery couping, which is kind of like, just you look raging, unhappy about something, things don't go your way, that kind of thing. So yeah, we pick up Leo Carlsson second. I was shocked at the time. I mean, my jaw hit the floor because I was really expecting Fantilli. And then I had time to think about it. I went to bed that night, and I'm thinking, after watching Leo Carlsson at the Worlds and stuff like that, this is a guy whose vision, whose hockey IQ, something talked about a lot, is through the roof. He's a big guy, he's got a big frame, he's got an NHL-ready body. Is he the best skater? Could he improve? Yeah, obviously. I don't think he's as bad skating as people make him out to be. He creates space, and he can kind of break through defences. He's tricky. He's got great hands. But yeah, I'm quite happy about Leo Carlsson, especially when you look at our prospect pool and who we have available to us as well. So, yeah, you've got Leo Carlsson, but we've also got Mason McTavish. Let's do that again. So we've also got Mason McTavish. Looking at McTavish and what he brings to the team, there's his steel, grit, he's got skill, and he shoots. He's a proper forward. And then, you're looking at other people that are kind of littered all in that lineup. I think that it's a good place to be, even without Trevor Zegras. I think the prospect pool is insane in terms of the quality. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Yeah, like I said, it was a shocker, but it's one that after kind of sitting on it a while, listening to Fantilli's interview about Columbus and other kind of things that have been said, I think that Verbeek got that one right, and I think it'll prove over time that it was the right pickup. He will be a franchise guy. I don't see any other outcome. And then, obviously, the last time we spoke, we had no idea who the coach was going to be, and we have since found out it was Greg Cronin. This is a guy who's absolutely filled with quotes that you could go on and on and on, and he even uses quotes for the likes of Bill Belichick and stuff like that. You can say what you like, but me personally, I like that. I like that level of philosophy. I like that level of kind of consistency and thought, and I think that it can only serve us well. Okay, so now we go to the realistic expectations for the season. Quite honestly, it's going to be a hard year again. It's going to be one that's going to be about growth, and it's going to be about changing the culture of the team. Changing the culture of a team cannot happen overnight. There's no question that there's going to be times when we're all sitting there and we'll think, oh, no again, or, this isn't quite gone the way that we expect it to be. You need to remember that this is part of a process, and yes, the rebuild has been going for 5 years, but the rebuild was torn up and started again when Verbeek took the job, over Bob Murray. Because Bob Murray was all about the retool, whereas Verbeek just went, nope, we're in rebuild and we're going to get rid of X, Y, and Z, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to be bad until we're good. And he's already been asked several times, Pat Verbeek, about how long this is going to take, and he's been quite coy in his answers. But if you read between the lines, I think Pat Verbeek pretty much said that there's a quicker route for certain players to the NHL, but he will take the slow route, so as when they get there, they stay there. That shows that he's building properly, he's building a foundation. We are going to reap the benefits of this, there's no question. The faith of the fan base will be repaid, but there's still a bit of pain to go through before we get there. So with that in mind, if we finish just outside of a playoff spot, just outside of a wild card, that will show massive, massive growth. if we somehow miraculously make it to the playoffs, you know, that would be above expectation. As long as we do not finish dead last in the Pacific, then I'll see this as personal growth. But even if we do finish last in the Pacific, it'll suck, but you'll be able to see kind of where we're going. And I think we're going to scalp a couple of teams this year. There's going to be a few teams that are going to be caught off guard. The things I'm looking for, the things that I'm looking for in terms of improvement from last year, it's quite simple. Shoot the puck. That's it. Shoot the puck, man. You don't shoot, you don't score. So I don't want to see us getting outshot 2-1 every game. I don't want to see John Gibson making, against 45 shots or something like that. I don't think it's sustainable. You're never going to win games of hockey like that. And in line with shooting, I'd like to see us score more. I'd like to see us concede less. I'd like to see us take less penalty minutes. And I would also like to see us score more on the power play. That seems greedy because there's like 4 or 5 possible improvements there. If we get like 2 of them, I'll be happy. It'll show that we're moving in the right direction. So, pump the brakes. We're not going to win the Stanley Cup this year, so just calm down, right? But you will see growth. You'll see the culture shift. You'll see people start to buy in. And when people buy in the organisation, when the players buy in, when everybody starts pulling in the one direction, then we'll start to make the playoffs consistently. Then we'll start to get by a round or 2. Then we'll start looking at the likes of bringing another championship back to the Orange County. So we do that. It's going to take time. There's just no question about it. You have to be sensible about where your thought process is with this one. So yeah, I'm going to attempt to do these more regularly because obviously there's been a massive lull in between this and the last one. But there hasn't really been a lot going on. Hopefully the next time we talk, the issue with Trevor Zegras' contract is resolved one way or another. And more importantly, for me anyway, Jamie Drysdale, I genuinely believe that, he's our stud D-man. He's the guy that's going to be, we're going to build that team around. I don't see getting rid of Drysdale beneficial at all. I'd be giving him more money than Zegras at this point because I think he's more valuable. Again, that's not a slight on Zegras. Like I said, I'm a fan of Trevor Zegras. I wanted him in the big team. I spoke about this before. I spoke about the fact that I was really excited to see him. And, for the most part, I've been quite happy with his contributions. I just think his attitude needs to change. I think that he has an NBA attitude in the NHL, and I just don't see how that's sustainable. These young guys need to know that, there's a way to act as a hockey player, and, there's an expectation on you to be a certain way. So he's got to learn that. But yeah, hopefully we can do these more regularly. I'm gonna obviously kind of come on and talk about the games and stuff like that. The season is coming. We're not far away. I'm super excited to see where we go. But like I said, my expectations are very tempered because the last 5 years have been tough. I think we can all agree on that as Anaheim Ducks fans. It's been quite trying. Apart from that, you can see that the organisation is moving in the right direction. What we've managed to pick up through the drafts and what we've managed to do in the trade market, for the most part, I'm fairly happy with. The contracts that we were able to shift, probably would have liked to get rid of a couple of others, but, the market is what it is. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about where we are as a team. So yeah, I will speak to everyone later. I hope you are all excited as me for the start of the season. Any questions, send me a message. You want to get involved, have a chat, again, send me a message. I'm always happy to chat hockey. I will be doing a few other things over the coming weeks as well, a few other collaborations. So it's just good to talk about the sport that I enjoy. So yeah, let's go Ducks. Let's have a productive season, and let's get that contract situation resolved as soon as possible. Cheers.